Hello, everyone. I'm Rod Walton, Content Director for Power Engineering, PowerGen International, and the PowerGen Plus virtual series. Welcome to our chat today with Mr. Mario Azar, who is President of Black & Veatch's global power business. Black & Veatch is a historic services, EPC, and consulting company in the power generation sector. Mr. Azar is a 30-year veteran of the industry with many global interactions, including all aspects of the power business at Black & Veatch. Previously has been a leader at Siemens, Westinghouse, and ALP Citadel. And Mr. Azar, you've been leading the power business at Black & Veatch since December 2018, I believe, which is really not that long ago, but right now it feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Yes, it's been quite an exciting year for all of us. So it's been quite a year.
Yeah, it really has. Changed everything, really. So we have some questions on the energy transition and other key issues that you're very familiar with. And I want to start with, you've talked a lot, and I think we've talked about this, repowering the power industry. And tell us what that means in terms of getting to lower carbon and not losing resiliency and reliability.
Sure. So I'll talk a little bit about why we use the term repowering the power industry. And it's really a lot of it also about what we did within Black & Veatch to adapt ourselves to a changing power industry. And it's kind of important also, Rod, to mention that we don't believe reducing carbon footprint and resiliency, maintaining resiliency are mutually exclusive. We think they go together hand in hand. But, you know, on your question, Black & Veatch, as you said, Black & Veatch is a well-established company, over 100 years old company, and grew, you know, within the power industry over, you know, this period. And as the power industry evolved, you know, from heavily conventional fossil, if you will, fuel-focused industry on the generation side, so has Black & Veatch evolved with it. So I think, you know, the last couple of years for us have been not just transitional, but also transformational, where we looked at ourselves as a company, and we also looked at the power industry, where it's heading. And I'll talk more about that in our conversation, you know, all the different directions power is heading. And we realized that we needed to adapt also our business model. We needed to adapt our own business structure to a rapidly evolving power industry and changing power industry. So, but with that, then we see ourselves as enablers of this evolution of the power industry. And that's what we really mean by repowering power.
Thank you. Integration is truly a buzzword in power generation circles, even to the point that old-time power plant folks are having conversations about how to make their plants more adaptable, work in tandem with the oncoming renewables, the intermittencies. But you're also thinking about it on an even deeper level. Talking about pairing things like hydrogen and storage, renewables and storage. Common denominator here being storage. Why is that so crucial, this integrative transformation?
Sure. Well, look, integration is not a new term for us. In a sense, we as a company and, you know, all E&C companies, in a sense, are in the integration business. So you're integrating different components of infrastructure. You're integrating different solutions that come together. So integration is not new to us. In this sense here, the term integration is really talking about technology integration. And it's really, as you're moving from a carbon you know, footprint to low and eventually zero carbon footprint, you're integrating technologies into the mix. And you have to integrate them in a way where they not only function, but they don't disrupt. So So in this sense, battery becomes really pivotal. Battery is not just an energy consumer, it stores energy and then it produces energy. And so it's really integral to the future of, zero carbon, and integrating the battery technology then becomes the crux of it. And so, and just to kind of explain what this means, it's not just installing batteries. That's in a way the easier part, is really integrating the batteries into the grid and how they're functioning within the grid system. And that now gets into control logic and the intelligence part of the integration of batteries. But there's other technologies now being integrated. Hydrogen is another one.
So can you fill us in a little bit on the detail of that work and talk about where the positives and also maybe the challenges lie with respect to hydrogen?
Hydrogen is one of the things, I think you still have almost two camps. And two camps, not just within the industry itself, but also even within the technology side of the industry. And there's the ones who really believe it's coming fast and it's becoming extremely relevant. And there's still some who are doubtful about the economics of hydrogen and at what point will it become economically feasible, and how much things like carbon credits have to play into it for it to make sense economically. In a way, if you think about it, it's kind of remnants of some of the conversations around battery. And at some point in time, when battery economically was very difficult to justify at large scale. So we are on the camp of hydrogen is real, hydrogen is relevant, hydrogen is, we think very quickly becoming part of the mix. And we are at the heart of it actually. So we are involved in multiple feasibility studies, and we see ourselves, being part of integrating hydrogen into the mix, also all the way up to EPC space when the projects get to that stage. A lot of them are now in the feasibility engineering stage. And so, we're very focused on it. We're very excited about it. And we see ourselves kind of in a leading position, frankly, from the E&C side, teaming up with the OEMs to drive it forward.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. The thing that's going on in Utah with an Intermountain Agency is fascinating. So kind of moving on from that, but the microgrid evolution is also upon us. Once again, we're talking about integrative formats here. Can you tell us a little bit about the work Black & Veatch is doing on microgrids? And is that sector ready to go prime time? Already is? Or where are we at on that?
So I believe it already is prime time. And if you just look back at some of the announcements, for example, FP&L looking at community solar program, where they are building, solar assets that are designated for specific consumers. That's at a larger scale, but at smaller scale, rooftop solar at industrial scale. We are proud to be working with JP Morgan Chase, basically putting rooftop solar on their branches across the country, and then linking all that up, with monitoring technology and diagnostics to make sure it's all working together well. So it's not a concept, it's very much prime time. And there are so many examples of community-specific microgrids that are really designed around independence, resilience, and that could be hospital, university campus, or even residential communities that are building their own assets, if you will, to be independent and not be relying, resiliency-wise on utilities. So it's very much prime time. It's really exciting to us. Part of our Repowering Power, we launch distributed energy business segment.
Mhm.
We basically put in it two elements. One is distributed generation, but also distribution to link up the smart grid aspect of the microgrid into the integration. And so we are very excited about it. I could venture to say it's probably the most exciting, part of the business for me. It's not the biggest in terms of volume, but it's really, really exciting, and it is already prime time.
And it really is, and I also think in terms of the storms and the events that we're having, we're seeing more and more of that. This sort of resiliency, islandy aspect of that. I want to move on from there to power transmission, and I know with renewables where they're placed, with hydrogen, getting the power generated and from here to there, big part of the equation. And you have a Black and Veatch scholarship program, which is focused on area colleges in this particular discipline. What is the immediate need for new talent in the transmission sector?
Sure. So, before I get into talent, let me just explain. Transmission or power delivery is a very traditional business for Black and Veatch. It's one of our really traditional businesses, and we've been in it for a long time. We built thousands of miles of transmission lines, and just in the last decade, over 9,000 substations. So
Wow.
Transmission is a much larger business for us than a lot of people realize. And it's a great business. It's very relevant. Why
Absolutely.
are we teaming up with colleges? Transmission has been growing at an incredible pace, still is very substantial market. Only in the United States in the next 3 years, there's over $150 billion of investment in transmission. And if you go global, you could easily double that. And we are global. So it's really continues to be a very significant and growing segment. And with that comes competition for talent and skill and labor. And so that's kind of part of our teaming up with technical colleges to develop technicians and engineers that know Black and Veatch and understand what we do and will join us as they graduate.
We talked a little bit in the outset, kind of 2020, and obviously the story of the year and maybe for years to come is the novel coronavirus. Your company recently announced the Ignite X COVID-19 Response Accelerator, intent on developing and deploying emerging technologies in the fight against the pandemic. You pick 18 companies to participate in this effort and to support each other in the path. What's so intriguing about fighting COVID-19 in this way?
So, look, COVID-19 has taught a lot of us a lot of things. It really taught us what's possible. We learned quickly how to adapt to remote working. We did not imagine how productive and meaningful that platform can be. And we just were kind of thrust into it, and we had to just hit the ground running. But, as importantly, we learned a lot also about how to operate in our project sites with COVID-19. Being part of the critical infrastructure segment, we had no choice but to quickly adapt and keep our projects going. And so we adapted procedures, we adapted our entire construction flow to be able to operate safely with COVID. And so, and the other thing that happened in really meaningful way is the industry came together. So groups of competitors really got together and started talking at all different levels, including at the top executive level, to share learnings and experience so we could help each other, all in the interest of keeping the lights on for everybody. So that's what this is about, really, is taking all this learning and giving back. And there's a lot of it that is meaningful to help everybody continue with their business. That's what the program is about.
Yeah, every challenge is forcing innovation for sure, and so and a lot of positive ideals out there. And when you look, even beyond Black and Veatch, you see where a lot of utilities and states have this what we call Destination 2050 as kind of a theme towards the decarbonization of the power system. But aside from the positives, what about this transition keeps you awake at night or keeps you up at night as you consider how we get from here to there?
Not much keeps me awake at night, to be honest with you. I think it's really, if I'm up because I'm excited, it's really exciting.
There you go.
It's to me, it's limitless opportunity. And the pace of change and evolution in the technology and the drive really to go from, here to there quickly is energizing and exciting. Of course, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of challenges to get through. So they don't keep me up at night because I don't believe we're going to figure them out. It's just exciting. There's definitely a lot of challenges along the way, and I'm sure we'll get through them. No doubt in my mind.
For sure. Well, thank you so much. And I do want to ask one last question, and maybe it's a little reflected at us, but I wanted to ask you about the benefit of events like PowerGen and Distributech, which Black and Veatch has been a crucial partner with for a long time. But what is the benefit of these type of get-togethers in terms of tackling the challenges of the industry?
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, the biggest benefit is these platforms provide, a good venue for thought leadership. And they keep us focused on thought leadership because, we're all in the daily churn of doing what we do. And you cannot take time for thought leadership. And so that's, to me, the highest value. But what comes with that is also sharing experience across the industry. And at the end of the day, that's what enables the industry to be a community, a much stronger community than each of us individually. So I see them as extremely important and very valuable to us in continuing to evolve and to get better and better as a community.
Very good. So I want to thank you so much for your time, and I'm so glad that we have you here, Mr. Mario Azar, President of Black and Veatch's Global Power Business. I'm Rod Walton with Power Engineering and PowerGen International.
Happy to be here, Rod. Thank you.
Thank you.